Right.
Hey, welcome back, guys. Here we have Julian Knab versus Romario with Eldrazi. Mm,
What do you think of Julian's hand? Do you keep that with just like the green sun into Arbor on turn
I
one?
I probably do. I mean, what are you looking for when you mulligan down to 6, right? Like every time you mulligan, you're getting like one less card towards glimpse and stuff. I guess there are a few redundant lands in his hand, but it's kind of hard to mulligan turn one mana dork with glimpse. I think I don't know. Shaman's not as good as a one drop, but
Ace
what
on
can you
the
do?
oh, that's brutal. Shots on one always going to be pretty rough here, but I guess he can
It
just green
is.
into Reclamation Sage. Does he have that main?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Chaos Elves has like everything main, like everything that you might want a Green Sun Zenith for. I believe is in his list.
Do that in case there's any feedback.
Yeah, he's got Rex Sage. It'll take a minute though.
Yeah,
It'll take
and there does look to be a turn 3 Inbringer, which is going to be pretty rough. Just the ping is going to be.
Oh, nice. Visionary is really good. It doesn't get him to Green Sun Zenith for 3 faster, but it gives him a potential blocker for
He could
the
draw Cradle. That'd be a pretty sick draw.
and then yes, it also like pumps up a possible cradle draw.
Zinbringer's going to start pinging away pretty quickly here. Definitely cause some problems.
Yeah, Endbringer is gonna just destroy everything, right?
Yeah, taking out the Arbor just sets him even further back from the Zenith.
It'd be kind of hard to combo off anyway, like just in general.
Yeah, even without the Chalice, the Inbringer's causing a ton of problems. Does he have any answer to anything like Inbringer? I doubt it, right?
No, he doesn't. Unless you count Run Packmaster, which I might if Julian had been on the play and had a more explosive opener,
Yeah.
but I do not now. It's not a thing. There are a number of elves that live through the single point ping, like there's Nettle Sentinel and Deathrite Shaman and whatnot, but it's not like those are factors. So I think
Yeah.
Julian's only way out of this was naturally drawing the Rex Sage this turn, and it doesn't look like that happened.
The Scavenging Ooze can get pretty big if the Inbringer's killing a bunch of creatures, but you can't even like get very many creatures into play to even get into the graveyard.
Yeah, or like have the mana to actually activate the ooze and have it be relevant. Like
Yeah.
Julian's already down to 13.
Well, the clock isn't too bad from the other side as long as he doesn't draw any more Eldrazi. Looks like Julian's MTGO crashed, so I'm sure he will be back shortly.
Just
Hopefully.
version 4 things, man. Just version 4 things.
Hey, V3 things as well. To be fair.
Oh, I'd hate to be unfair.
Is there anything out of the board that Julian has for this matchup?
Julian's got 3 Abrupt Decays that are probably coming in, and I bet he brings in Garrick Relentless as well. I don't know.
It's so slow, but
It is slow, but I mean Elves isn't trying to play Garrick Relentless on turn 4, right? Like they're playing it a little bit faster. I think it's okay. It can like brick a yeah, maybe it is too slow.
it's like once he even gets it into play, it doesn't even block very effectively, the 2/2s, right? It doesn't really kill anything either.
Well, it kills Eldrazi Mimic,
Yeah, but
and it blocks the Thought Knot Seer. But yeah, I suppose you're right. Eldrazi tends to flood pretty quickly.
yeah.
Probably too explosive for it. But Abrupt Decay is good.
Mhm.
It's Chalice, and then it also hits a number of the Eldrazi threats.
Would you bring anything like Thoughtseize in against Eldrazi, since their hands can be kind of like mana heavy? So if you just hit like their one good threat, maybe you can get them, or even against Chalice on one.
I would not, but Julian is not the same player as me. He has a lot more experience with elves,
Yeah.
and he takes different sideboarding strategies than I would in a lot of situations, and he has a lot more experience with this archetype than myself. So I actually don't know what Julian is going to do here. I just know that I'm a little bit wary about playing discard against a deck that like dumps its hand this quickly.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely not a great draw after turn 1.
Eldrazi's just so good at living off the top too, right?
True, true.
They just like get their 2 lands in play and then they draw a 4/4 and they're like, all right, this thing like get you.
All right. It looks like Julian's back, so he's
He
gonna
is.
play the Visionary. I guess in search of Cradle still. Certainly, like the best thing you could draw to actually get something going.
Yeah, he could play Ooze and activate it.
Yeah. Zenith targets could you have that might get him back in here?
Oh, well, Zenith for 2 isn't. I mean, I think we were correct earlier that the Green Sun for Rexage is like how he gets out from under the chalice. So I don't think he can fire off Green Sun for 2 or 1 really.
Oh, he got Cradle, so that gives him some options. I don't think there's any creatures in the graveyard yet, right? No. Looks like he's gonna Zenith. Maybe he just doesn't feel, or feels like he just doesn't have enough time to get there. I don't even know what he finds here though. That would matter for 2. I was thinking like maybe Deathrite might be kind of
He's doing
interesting.
it for 1. He's doing it for 1.
Yeah, well, maybe Symbiote?
Yeah, Symbiote or Heritage Druid. Yeah.
Yeah, Druid's not bad.
It's kind of bad.
Well, his position's pretty bad. Fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a lot that could be going that well for him. There's a Symbiote. So you can draw a card with Visionary.
Yeah, that seems. This is all way better than what my turn would have been. Wow.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have the mana to get that Ranger down, start doing some more things.
Yeah, so I think the reason to bring your Green Sun there is because your board presence this turn is just so much better, and then I think Julian's just hoping to draw into the Reclamation Sage naturally, or another Green Sun Zenith is like kind of likely.
Yeah.
If he ends up drawing multiple cards a turn.
Or maybe he just tries to like chump a bunch of times and burn him out with Shaman in the pack or something. So you can kill 2 guys a turn, which is pretty brutal.
It's kind of a lot of guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lot of guys to lose per turn. Maybe the thought plan behind the symbiote is that after a few creatures die, one of them being said symbiote, then perhaps he'll have enough creatures in play that he can actually like play the ooze and start activating it.
Yeah. The ooze, like he doesn't even worry about that dying immediately because he can only ping for 1 a turn, right? I assume the Imbringer untaps during the untap step and not like a trigger during the upkeep, right? Yeah.
I like the trades here. The trades here actually make the Scavenging Ooze so much better, and they mitigate the impact of that Endbringer.
Yeah.
So
the Imbringer making. Go ahead.
What were you saying?
The Imbringer making the Skoos not be able to block is certainly unfortunate for
Sure.
Julian.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the big consideration. Like the ooze is going to be gaining life and stuff, and if the Endbringer is making it so the ooze can't block, then at least the Endbringer isn't attacking. So the ooze still buys Julian a lot of time.
Yeah. Though with the Mimics gone, the not blocking isn't as relevant.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just the factory there, threatening to serve.
Is it just the 1 Dryad Arbor, or are there 2? No, just 1. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you can afford to run multiple Dryad Arbors if you're not playing Natural Order.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Go, Eldrazi Mimic, go.
It's going to be a big endless one, which is actually probably what's going to close out the game. Though I guess to be fair, the Endbringer a couple turns ago didn't put him in a great spot.
Yeah. It does seem pretty difficult to handle right now.
GTA doesn't really do anything. You can play Visionary. Maybe draw, like, I don't know. even at this point, like getting Rex Sage down. Maybe if he could buy like 2 turns with the Scoos.
Interesting. Did I miss something
Seems,
there? Why can't the factory, or why can't he block the factory?
yeah, that seems like a pretty aggressive attack.
I mean, I know I'm missing something on board, right?
We both have to be missing it if that was the case. Maybe there's something. There's dismember, but he could just dismember it pre-combat. So it's not
Yeah,
like there's any
December's not a
combat trick.
thing. Maybe
Yeah,
both players just had a brain fart or something.
yeah, that was on.
Because it's not like the Endbringer can ping to finish off the ooze because it's attacking there.
Yeah, he can't untap it or anything. But I think does a lot of things, so maybe it does.
It does do a lot of things. Put some Staff of Domination text on there too, just to untap it whenever.
That'd be pretty strong.
Oh man. Can you tell what Julian's draw here was? Oh, it's another green sun. It's another green sun. That's excellent.
That's probably his best draw, yeah. In the sense that he might be able to win the game with it.
Oh, and he's got Cavern to start playing stuff through Chalice.
Mm. That order is a little bit curious there, because now he can just ping the Ranger with the Inbringer, but I would think that that would be the one that he would want to keep in play, so maybe he plays the Visionary first to at least get the mana, unless Inbringer pings the Visionary, which is like not that big of a downside.
If he wants to play the Visionary, like maybe he's just throwing something out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just getting more stuff, I guess, for the scavenging ooze.
He already had as many. I guess he can make it a 5/5 or a 7/7 now. Is that right? Yeah. I don't really see the upside to playing the Ranger there, because it just dies immediately. Whereas, like, I guess maybe he was afraid of him drawing a card.
Yeah, it does prevent him from drawing a card, but drawing a card's kind of expensive with double Ancient Tomb in play.
Yeah. At 16, like, I don't know. I guess the only way he really loses is like getting burned out by Shaman of the Pack. So I guess that's somewhat reasonable. I guess that's not the only way he could lose, but
I guess Julian just figured that the Birchlow Rangers wasn't really doing anything in his hand, and it might do something in his graveyard.
yeah.
And it was free. It's not like he lost mana playing it.
Yeah, but losing out on the card in the long run, I don't know, might not be beneficial. I don't know if the extra counter is going to be worth it on the Scoos or not.
His Thought-Knot Seer is pretty savage.
Yeah. Yeah, snagging that Zenith is pretty unfortunate. Would you have considered, was he dead that turn? Because he could have Reclamation Sage the Chalice that past turn.
Wait, what?
He could have Zenith for Reclamation Sage and gotten the Chalice last turn, right?
Instead of playing the Birchlow Rangers?
Yeah, and growing the Scoos.
Yeah.
He gained 4 life, went to 7. He might have been. It doesn't look like he would have been dead. Like with him having drawn the Thought-Knot. No,
It's like really
guess it is
close though, right? It's like pretty close to dead. I think he's hoping that a large ooze just stabilizes.
Yeah, but like, is that playing to win? Do you think? Because I don't like the Scoos, especially against the Inbringer, with no actual answer to it. Doesn't seem like you can actually win the game that way.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's only lethal because of him drawing the Thought-Knot Seer. But I guess it was lethal with the Endless one. Yeah, because he just plays the Endless one, pumps the Mimic a bunch, and then makes the Scoos not be able to block. So that would have been lethal, but he wasn't aware of the Endless one. I just don't know that you can really expect to win the game trying to just grow the Scoos. And he could have still ran out the Birchlore. Like, he could have gone Birchlore off the Cavern, Cradle, taps for 2, then you can find the Rex Sage, then he has Birchlaw, Rexage, Scoos in play.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking he was going for when he ran out the Birchlore, because then if Romario doesn't ping the Birchlore Rangers in response to the Green Sun Zenith, then he can like maybe get another mana to like activate the Scavenging Ooze with the two elves.
Mm-hmm. I assume he would have pinged it, but
Right. Yeah, I assume as well.
but even just getting the second blocker down makes it kind of difficult to die that turn. But getting the Chalice off the board gives him a chance to win, maybe.
That's fair. That's fair.
But at this point, it's looking pretty rough.
I agree.
Maybe Scoos can start attacking at some point. Probably not. How much mana does he have this turn? He could play Deathrite, Visionary, and Shaman the pack. Might be able to start attacking. What does the Embryo do? Does it only stop blocking or stop attacking? Stops attacks as well.
Do you
I'm
have
kind of
experience?
surprised.
Oh, sorry, what?
I'm kind of surprised Romario slow rolled the Endless one 2 turns ago. Seemed like just getting another attacker down just ends the game a lot more quickly. What do you do instead? He like animated the Mistras? I think that was it.
Animated Factory, yeah.
So Deathrite comes down for Julian, gets in through the Cavern of Souls. So I guess I wonder if starting with Visionary works out better just to have more of an idea of what's going on.
Maybe. The nice thing about leading with the Deathrite Shaman is you can now play Visionary, and Romario can't respond ping an elf, right?
Sure. So he gets the extra mana from Cradle.
Exactly. So if you lead with Visionary and then go Deathrite Shaman, the Manbringer can ping the Visionary in response, and the mana's a little bit more awkward.
Very true. Very true.
Do you have any experience with this matchup in particular?
No, the last time I played Elves was like before Eldrazi was printed.
Yeah, same. I actually I've never even seen it play out on paper, so it's all kind of new to me.
It seems pretty even almost. Like maybe draw dependent. Like Chalice is obviously super brutal for Elves, but Elves can have some pretty quick draws.
Yeah, and you can like maybe go wide of Eldrazi.
Yeah. I would assume Eldrazi's ahead given the Chalice.
Oh, on this board, or you mean in general?
No, just in general in the matchup. Definitely on this board.
I would not bet against you on this board.
Yeah. Mario has some nice sideboard options as well, so this matchup definitely seems a little bit rough for Julian.
Sideboard options like what?
Like All Is Dust, Ratchet Bomb, Sphere of Resistance. I assume all those.
Ratchet Bomb is super good.
All Is Dust is definitely a little bit expensive. But...
I'm not sure about Sphere of Resistance.
Yeah, it seems pretty solid.
I've sideboarded it against elves before, or I'm sorry, I have sideboarded Thorn effects in elves before.
Mm-hmm. Well, slowing down creatures.
But like Gaia's Cradle is a pretty powerful magic card.
That's fair. They just try to play so many spells. The Sphere just ends up making so many more spells more costly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but you can like, I think you're only like really buying a turn with Thorn.
Yeah, that might be all Eldrazi needs, maybe, just to like set up a little bit more.
But I'm not sure it's better than like what would you cut for the Thorn specifically? I agree with bringing in Ratchet Bomb 100%. Ratchet Bomb's like definitely fast enough, and then
you definitely take out Thorns from the main.
Yeah, well, yes, I guess Thorn of Amethyst for Sphere of Resistance is like a strict upgrade in this matchup.
Yeah, Matter Reshaper doesn't seem all that hot. Like it's never gonna die presumably, so it's just like a random dude, which is fine, but like not really that relevant.
That's a really good point. What is going on? Okay. It was still Julian's turn.
Yeah. So you play Deathrite, Visionary, and face down Virtual Ranger that turn.
How do you know it's a Birchlow Ranger?
Yeah, just call it a hunch, I guess.
It could be anything. It could be anything. It's a morph, man.
Could be like Exalted Angel.
Yeah, but you don't know. You don't know. Or what's that red one that flips up for discarding a card?
Gathen Raiders.
Yeah, it could be a
Yeah.
Captain
It could be that.
Raiders.
Julian's only got 3 cards left in his hand. Maybe he could empty it out pretty quickly here.
Now I kind of want to play Elves with Gathen Raiders just to troll people. And
Yeah,
everyone's
just
going to be
like
like, oh, nice Birchlow Rangers, just attack into you. And you're like, nope, it's a 3/3, get you.
Let me know how that goes.
I will.
So Julian had a deck called Flusterstorm Elves, and it was a blue-green Elves list. It didn't have Edric, which I was disappointed in. Did have Flusterstorms, and I couldn't get him to run a Willbender. I was so close.
Can Romario end this turn? It seems really difficult. Julian's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Julian just has enough chump blocking to not die this turn, but he could definitely be put in a more awkward spot because he gets to jam, or Romario gets to jam with Thought-Knot, Mimic, Factory, Inbringer makes the Skoos not be able to block. That's going down to 8, though. And the Shaman Pack's pretty scary. The Factory wouldn't have to be blocked, so it would just be the Mimic and Thought-Knots here that need to be chumped.
Activate Mishra's Factory. Tap Mishra's Factory to activate my Endbringer.
That's one way to do it. The Thought-Knot does need to be chumped because of the Inbringer representing lethal. I guess the Skoos can make it so it's not lethal. I think just chumping Visionary on Mimic.
And then have the ability to gain 2 life.
Yeah.
Your upkeep. I don't think that Jit is ever going to become live.
Well, you put it on Deathrite. I guess the Inbringer can just make whatever gets equipped not attack. Just like getting the 4 life off G-Tag isn't like the worst.
No, and there is an Eldrazi Mimic that's pretty nice to ping off.
Yeah.
But it's almost too late, right? Like the Eldrazi Mimic was a free spell that he just got to play. And like it's already kind of done its job.
Yeah.
Green Sun Zenith is a great draw.
Yeah, for as rough as a spot Julian's been in, he's been able to maybe claw himself back in here with some pretty sick draws. The Cradle is a good draw. All the Zeniths have been great draws.
True. Yeah, like Green Sun is probably best draw possible. Do you just get a?
I guess Crater though.
What?
Does he win?
Oh, you're saying Crater Hoof would be the best draw possible?
Well, he can Zenith for Crater Hoof, right? He'd have to tap the Deathrite, and Inbringer can make the Skoos not be able to block. He'd have 2 attackers. I think that's lethal. Oh, no, because the damage from Wood of Fatils is awkward.
Yeah. And he needs to have like +1 mana available for the Ooze activation because he is still at 1.
Yeah.
I kind of like getting Ren's Run Packmaster. I kind of like it.
Just getting the chump blockers, buying a little bit of time might be not a horrible option.
Yeah. It is champion and elf, so you'd like have to get something else down.
Yeah, you
and
like
then,
getting to a Deathrite and champion it away, maybe.
It's
just getting with Skoos is fine.
Yeah, there's just not enough. There's not enough, man. There's not enough creatures for the Scavenging Ooze to eat to like let them live through like multiple Endbringer pings for very many turns. It just wouldn't work.
So just main phase the Scoo's activation, so he's got something in mind. Maybe cracking the Foothills.
That would make sense. Julian is about as close as you can get to the edge of death without actually being dead.
Yeah. He has maneuvered this game pretty effectively, though. Like, you know, from as horrible a start as turn 1 Chalice has to be.
Oh, sure. Yeah, not just flirting with death, but like inviting it in for coffee. Yeah, this is real close to dead.
What do you think about just like going to combat with Scoos and seeing what he does with Imbringer? Because if he doesn't tap it and then doesn't block the Scoos, he is dead to Shaman attack.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of a long shot, but I guess there's no harm.
It's free, right? I say it's not free if he plans on trying to get like Crater Hook into play, but that doesn't seem especially likely this turn.
Could he play Jit and like equip to the Birchlore Rangers or something weird?
He could definitely do that.
And then what?
If only I remembered what Lich's Mirror did.
Right? Yeah, I have no clue. I have no clue. I'm just confused.
Maybe somebody in the chat knows what that card does.
You said he was as close to death.
Yeah, if Julian does go like Jit, put on Morph, go to attack, and then Romario makes it so the Morph can't attack, and then Julian serves with the Ooze.
Yeah.
I think if I was Romario, I would block with the Endless One with that line, but I mean, if he didn't, he would die. Oh, Romario knows about the Shaman of the Pack. He saw it with the Thought Not Seer. That's just not a line, yeah.
Is it just the one Shaman?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't play more than
maybe like Shaman, then Green Sun for another Shaman could do it.
That'd be savage. I think the idea is that you just replay the same Shaman over again, right?
Yeah.
Like Green Sunning for like Wirewood Symbiote or something.
Which, kind of does the same thing in this spot.
Yeah, he just doesn't have quite enough elves.
Yeah. Nor mana, probably.
Elves or mana or time or life.
Alright, so he's going to equip the Birchlore. Or
Yes.
Gather Raiders or Exalted Angel, it could be.
Whatever it is, whatever the morph is. Okay.
Alright, so he's tapping that. Or he's making it not block, rather.
Can't attack or block, yeah. It's pretty tempting to attack with the Ooze, because if the Endless One blocks, it's kind of the same as if the Scavenge Ooze stayed back to block, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not really functionally different, it's just better.
It makes it so that GT definitely doesn't get counters if the Inbringer is making something not block this coming turn. Though at this point, I don't think it will matter.
It makes his attack, the Endless One blocks there.
That gets a creature to the graveyard as well.
Yeah. Which kind of matters, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you Green Sun for here?
Heritage doesn't do anything. I guess Wirewood. Not that seems like it does especially much either.
Query Ranger. Has
Okay.
he played a land yet this turn?
I want to say he played the fetch land, but I might be wrong.
And that can untap the Scavenging Ooze, right?
Yeah. Or the Death Ray.
I think untapping Ooze is a little better.
Well, if your intention is to just like jump with Death Ray, gain 2 extra life.
Can Ranger only untap Elves? That's not true at all, right? Because it can untap Dryad Arbor. Yeah, untap target creature.
He can untap on both his turn and his opponent's turn. So.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And that's a really good point. Well, this is actually kind of good.
Yeah. And Mario's hand is not especially impressive at this point, and the Ancient Tombs are getting pretty close to just being turned off.
Is Julian gonna pull this off?
That would be so sick. I definitely thought he was dead on turn 1. I think we were talking about sideboard options on like turn 2. So.
I didn't think he was quite dead on turn 1, but I was giving him like 10% to win in my head or something along those lines.
Something super low.
I thought it was going to involve, and I also thought it was going to involve a Green Sun Zenith for Reclamation Sage, but he just never had the time, and he never had the time for that, so he's just always like doing everything but that, basically. Just playing his deck, just like ignoring the Glimpse of Nature in his hand, like, yep, that's not a card. The rest of these are cards, but this one is not.
Julian is definitely a crusher with Elves, so if anybody was going to do something sick like this, I would definitely put my money on him being the one.
Well, he's like X and 1 in a field of like combo decks and Reanimator and stuff. It's
all matchups that should be horrible. Yeah.
All matchups that should just be absolutely atrocious. Yeah.
So Romario has 4 attackers here. He fires up the Mishras. So he can't kill him. He can't kill him because he can untap the Skoos. So Julian definitely lives this turn, unless something super weird happens. Which I think makes it pretty easy for him to win the following turn. Maybe not win, but then Romario's in chump blocking mode. He gets to get counters on Jite.
Can Romario even attack this turn? It seems really bad.
Yeah. Like, Imbringer probably kills the Kyrian Ranger just because that's, like, super awkward for him.
Yeah, he can do it now or on Julian's turn, but, I mean, if he does it now, then Julian just responds by untapping the Ooze, and there's still no attack. Now the Endbringer is tapped, it can't stop either the Morph or the Scavenging Ooze from blocking.
Mm-hmm. And letting the Kyrian Ranger live just gives more Death Rite activations, more mana, so...
Yeah, I think Julian might even be winning right now.
Yeah. That's insane.
The Scavenging Ooze gets to come down. Yeah, so if Romario kills Quirion Ranger, and then what does he even prevent from attacking? Probably still the Ooze.
Yeah, because otherwise he has to jump the Ooze. Though, I don't know, maybe you're fine with jumping the Ooze to make sure the Jite doesn't get counters.
Yeah, because the Jit, like there's not really a good block for it, right? Like, if he blocks with a Thought-Knot Seer, the counters can eat the rest of the Seer.
Mm-hmm.
And if he blocks with Factory and then has the Factory pump itself, then the counters get to eat the Factory and the Mimic, and there's just, like, not much of a board left.
Mm-hmm.
So...
maybe he just chumps with the Mimic knowing that it just dies to the Jite. Even at that point, it's
just, like, trades the Mimic. I think that's, like, the best block in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that's what he's going for.
Though at that point, it might just be better to make the Skoos not be able to... or let the Skoos attack and just make the Jite...
Oh, chump with the Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah. Chump with the Mimic on the Skoos. Or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Or whatever's going to jump the Skoos.
Yeah, I agree. That is better.
All right, so the Kyrian Ranger goes down. Let's see if Julian can draw another Green Sun Zenith. That would definitely be something.
Well, maybe, I mean, it might be the same one. You don't know.
Yeah.
You could just be drawing. Maybe Julian only plays one Green Sun Zenith.
There's only one.
Just need to play that one. Just keep drawing it. Oh, one got exiled to the Thought-Knot Seer. That's a good point.
All right, so Deathrite's going to put Julian up to 4 life. Let's see what he draws. Heath, not especially helpful here. There's no Dryad Arbor or anything to find still.
I like playing the Glimpse.
Just to see if Romario misses the trigger.
Well, no, obviously Moto's going to remember the trigger, but getting the sorcery in the graveyard is relevant with Romario at 8 life, and there being a Shaman of the pack.
Yeah.
And
maybe there's some like Ancient Tomb taps, like to activate the Ayabugan here, that might make it easier for Romario to end this game. Finding Rally Smasher probably maybe does it.
Yeah, so just like playing the Glimpse of Nature and playing the Shaman of the pack Seems great to me, even if the shaman's only draining for a few.
I wonder if he bothers to flip up the Ranger first. That opens it up to the Inbringer.
Yeah, I would not do that. I would not do that at all.
And the extra 1 damage isn't especially relevant, given that he's dying in increments of 2.
Yeah.
All right, so he makes the Goose not be able to attack. Or block. This is also true. So he doesn't have to block this. So I think just is pretty reasonable. But it does put 2 more creatures into the graveyard, just continuing to let the Deathrite and Skoo's gain some life.
That's a good point. Maybe you do just take 2. Nope.
Factory.
Yeah, I don't like this at all. Yeah. I think this is like
Oh,
worse
his
than just
blocks.
trading the Mimic or just taking the damage or...
It's not that dissimilar from just jumping with a Mimic. This makes him use the counters now, which...
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Maybe makes it more awkward for him later. For Julian later.
Oh, the Morphos of Birchlow Rangers. We just figured that out.
Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed?
Well, you never know, man. You never know until they flip it up. Reveal your morphs, man. Yeah. Are we gonna see a glimpse? Are we gonna see a glimpse?
Looks like it.
He's hovering. He's hovering.
You can just spend the rest of the mana on the Skoos, or you could just equip the Jite here. Probably to the Shaman in the pack. Make the Inbringer less awkward. Yeah.
He might just like not playing the glimpse is also probably like it's probably better to just like activate the Scavenge use because it's not like you're getting in lethal.
Yeah, he needs the mana this turn. It looks like. Or Julian does. So spending the extra mana on the glimpse isn't maybe his best option here. Though I do think that play is like pretty reasonable if he has the extra mana.
He can also draw Green Sun Zenith to like get more pings out of Deathrite Shaman. Like intentionally play it for 0.
Yeah.
Having it countered by the Chalice.
That is true.
Oh, there we go.
All right, there's the glimpse. All right. We'll see if that comes back to bite him. The 1 life is definitely not irrelevant.
Right, yeah.
Being as low as he is.
Interesting that the Jit didn't kill the Eldrazi Mimic, but I guess I can always just do that whenever.
Yeah. So for the Mistress Factory to come down, you have to lose the City of Traders, which kind of constricts his mana. Though I guess most of his spells he can cast off Iboga and Eldrazi Temple mana. So I guess if he's trying to activate Mistress Factory and also cast a spell in the same turn, it's going to be pretty awkward for him after the city dies. Can Romario attack here? Probably not. Because the Shaman still has counters on it. Or the Jite, rather, has 1 counter on it. So we can trade with the Thought-Knot Seer. If the Imbringer makes the Skoos not be able to block. It's been a pretty sweet game.
It has. It has. Since we expected it to be over a long time ago.
Yeah.
Since it's not over still, and Ooze has a bunch, and Julian's got a bunch of things active, I imagine that he's favored.
Yeah, with the information we have now, I'd definitely put my money on Julian winning this one. His draws are just so much better too. Like Romario doesn't even have like his best draw would probably be like the 5/5.
Rally smash.
I don't even think that's good enough to win the game.
What about a
At this
second Endbringer? Is there another Endbringer in here?
Yeah, but my thought process is Imbringer comes down and doesn't do anything the turn he comes down, so it just gives Julian another turn. And Julian has a lot of live draws. Maybe it's just Green Sun Zenith. Green Sun Zenith Crater Hooks.
Green Sun for 0, right?
Yeah.
Kind
For the lethal, but yeah, that's right.
Need runner.
GTA's not a bad draw for Romario either. That would definitely
No, that'd be really good.
be helpful.
Romario would almost win the Jit War too, because he has an Endbringer active.
Mm-hmm.
The use is just so large. It's so large.
Hasn't been able to do anything the past couple turns though. I'm still curious about the Imbringer making Scoos not be able to block or attack with her last turn. Seems like just making the G-Tate guy not be able to block is maybe a little bit better.
Julian's just happy to make this trade.
Yeah, super happy. Discard an extra card, get an extra counter on the G-Tate. Whoa, he's killing Shaman?
Oh yeah, well the Jit counter being
map.
used to kill the Thought Seer after damage is the same.
Yeah.
It's just better to do it this way, save 2 life.
Julian making better plays than I am with Elves. Who could have guessed?
Well, I mean, this is Jit math.
I guess that's not even really like an Elf
I would
play.
hope that most people could do Jit math. Or maybe it's like because you don't want to have to do creature combat, like that's why you're playing the Sneak and Show deck. Is that the?
Yeah. Who has time for counting attack?
I can only count in like 15s and 7s,
15s
man.
and 7s.
Don't make me do that other stuff. I'm in the same boat, obviously.
Your deck's a little bit more complicated than mine is, though.
Yeah. I think sideboarding's the hardest part.
Sure, I believe that. Playing around Hate's probably a little bit more difficult for you.
No.
No?
No. You just play a Dark Ritual and try and win turn 1.
Don't you worry about the Hate.
Well, if they've got something, I mean, you're probably seeing their hand with like a Probe or a Cabal Therapy or a Thoughtseize or something. So it's like the most like training wheels combo deck in regards to playing around Hate that exists.
That's fair. I hadn't thought about that.
You just used to lose to Deathrite Shaman a lot, and so now there's the swords in the sideboard for that, which is kind of nice. But
Do you have Massacre as well?
No, I'm not running any. There's no room. There's no room because I'm playing like Mentors and Bobs and a bunch of nonsense.
All right, so Julian isn't going to be able to get any creatures into play this turn, though the Scoos has a ton of food now.
Really? I mean, he can play the Deathrite Shaman, right?
Oh, sure, yeah. The
Off the Cavern,
yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Romario still can't really attack.
Blocking doesn't really work out that well for him either. The GTA still has 1 counter on it. Yep.
Does that mean that Julian gets to attack? I think that means Julian gets to attack.
Yeah, I think the Imbringer makes this. Does Imbringer not, or make Scoos or Deathrite Shaman not attack? Like the turn prior, I'm still pretty sure it's better to make the G-Tade guy not be able to attack.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
last turn it seems like that was correct, and this turn it's probably still correct.
Though tapping with Imbringer, or making a creature not block with Imbringer and animating Mishra's Factory ends up being painful from the Ancient Tome this turn.
Yep. Which is kind of a big deal, because Romario is at 2.
Yeah. Makes the death right not attack.
Okay, and then this turn he makes it so the Jit creature can't attack or block.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just game a turn from now.
Yeah, I don't know what Romario can draw at this point.
Yeah, even Reality Smasher, Julian can just gain too much life because of the
Yeah, the ooze gains him a ton of life here.
and the Deathrite Shaman can activate as well.
True, true.
Romario can't even play a Reality Smasher now that I look at his mana base, right?
Yeah,
Did
can't tap the
two.
Ancient Tomb, yeah. Can you think of any specific spot where Romario could have made a different decision that didn't put him in this spot? Like, I think playing the Endless one the turn that he drew it might have been enough pressure to make Julian start having to chump earlier to give him like less options on his turns.
You're talking about that one attack with the Mishra's Factory. He could have played a 6/6 endless one or a
Yeah.
7/7 if he'd pitched the Spirit Guide.
Yeah, I think that turn he also activated the Imbringer. I don't remember what he did with it though. Like, I think he made something not attack.
Yeah, he activated, and then he also had an Eldrazi Mimic, and he also played a Thought Knot Seer that turn. So he gets in he gets in one more point of damage if he pitches the Simian Spirit Guide, because then that grows the Eldrazi Mimic.
No, not that's not the turn I'm thinking of. There was the turn that he drew the Endless one. He didn't have Thought Knot at that point, right? It was just like Endless one Spirit Guide, I think was his hand. Maybe like the second Ugin or Eye of Ugin.
I thought he did something important with his mana that turn, but I could be misremembering.
I think he just animated the factory and activated the Imbringer. Maybe I can check after.
Yeah, I mean, to know if it would matter, we'd have to go back and calculate, do the math and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're probably right. So, how about this board, huh?
Mario tried to figure out how he possibly lost this game.
I vote Ancient Tomb here. He's getting in that ping first. Ancient Tomb lets you die by your own hand. And there's a lot of ooze triggers. Okay.
That is the way he ends up going out. All right, on to sideboards.
So you were pretty sure.
The Ratchet Bombs definitely come in. I think
Yeah.
Sphere is pretty reasonable. The question, I think it's Ratchet Bomb, Sphere, All Is Dust as the options. All Is Dust is definitely pretty expensive, but I think you just kind of want to have access to it.
It would have been
games
absurd
like
that game. Yeah.
Yeah, the games that get drawn out, which seem like something that could happen. Because
Against
Julian
Elves?
just Julian just trying to chump Thought Knot Seers for a couple turns. Can definitely he can end up in an awkward spot against All His Dust.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty typical Elves situation where they're trying to grind you out with Elvish Visionaries and stuff.
Yeah.
The Green Grizzlebrand, as it is known. Julian deciding if he wants Needle. There's a Garruk Relentless in there. Just saying there's a Garruk Relentless in his deck.
It doesn't seem horrible. It seems very slow. We'll see how it goes. What's he taking out?
Looks like he's shaving. He shaved a couple of glimpses. I think the Sylvan Library's main deck, I think he cut that, and then he shaved a couple of Nettle Sentinels.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate Sylvan Library. Just as kind of a pseudo answer to Chalice. Just giving you
In this matchup, I kind of hate Sylvan Library.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just not putting anything on the board, and your opponent is like dumping their hand. You kind of also need to be dumping your hand, I think.
Just to keep up.
And you can almost never pay 4 life. So it's like a weird top that you don't have the time to play.
Yeah.
The one thing I would think about regarding Julian's sideboard is like how good Nettle Sentinel is against random Eldrazi, right? Like 1 mana for 2/2 isn't the worst value.
Just as an option against like the cheaper Eldrazi, so you can like maybe block them.
Yeah, and it doesn't like get pinged, and it's like a little bit larger against Jit. I don't think Warping Whale kills it. I don't know. Those are all like really minor concerns, but but if you factor in all of them, then maybe it adds up to something.
Mm-hmm. Did you see what Romario sideboarded at all?
I saw what he brought in. He brought in the 2 All His Dusts and the Ratchet Bombs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't quite see everything that he cut, but I think he cut 2 Thorns, and I didn't see what the other 2 cards were. This hand from Julian, he did bring in the Sylvan Library.
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely agrees with you.
That's a mulligan, right, from Julian?
No, apparently not.
I thought Romario's hand was a mulligan as well, so...
How can you mulligan the turn 1 Warping Whale, man?
I guess he does have, like, turn 1 Warping Whale, turn 4 All's Dust. Maybe that's just good enough.
It's a turn 3 All His Dust if you're Warping Whale to make a 1/1. Or sure. If you want to sack it for a mana.
Thankfully, that never gets used.
Oh, it gets used in this deck. It gets used in this deck a decent amount, weirdly.
I guess getting out the turn 2 Reality Smasher is a pretty relevant thing.
Exactly, like playing a creature like a turn before your opponents expect it or like are prepared to deal with it. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty big game. Not happening here, of course.
I think you play Mushrooms? I guess not.
It's pretty similar, right? If
yeah,
you're
it's not,
if you're playing towards the All His Dust. Julian did not find a land. How unlucky.
No. He has drawn 1-drops, though, which is convenient. Not that that's especially difficult with this deck, I guess.
Right, yeah. I mean, if you're not drawing land and you're not drawing 1-drops, there's very few draws that are not... It's like, well, there's the 1 Crater Hoof. And...
All right. That G-Tier, he can get that onto the factory the following turn, so definitely relevant. So I guess the Symbiote kind of shuts that down.
The Symbiote shuts it down, the Abrupt Decay can blow it up, etc.
The Windswept Teeth is definitely pretty awesome for Julian here.
The second land, yes. Yeah. The second land looks pretty good in this handful of Abrupt Decays. Good thing he's facing his, like, what, one of 2 people in the league that don't have 4 Cabal Therapies in their deck. Mm-hmm. That's an exaggeration. There are a lot of Cabal Therapies in this league, though.
Oh. I like running out the Smasher here.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I was thinking he couldn't equip with the Jite as well. Because, like, what could be in Julian's hand that he misses his second land drop multiple turns and then he doesn't play anything when he gets his second land? So, like, Abrupt Decay seems like a pretty reasonable thing to read him for. But the fact that he gets to equip the Jite makes that completely irrelevant.
I'd probably read him for exactly 3 Abrupt Decays.
Yeah.
I think that's the read that I'd put on this. Yeah, it looks like we're going to a game 3 pretty quick, though.
I don't know, that All's Dust is not bad if Julian gets a little bit too aggressive here with jamming creatures.
Well, it's not even too aggressive. Like, you're facing down a Reality Smasher. It's going to smash your reality if you don't do something. So Julian almost has to just, like, do this, like, overextendy thing. And then the All His Dust only kills 3 creatures, and he bounces the Elvish Visionary, but it's still real rough shape. Oh, I guess 4 creatures now. Because the Smasher hits him down to 7, which is representing lethal the following turn with the Smasher plus Factory, so then Julian's in chump mode. Oh, now it's Smasher plus double Factory? Yeah. think we're going to a game 3. Not to call things too early, but
We called that last one pretty early. I guess I did.
yeah, I didn't call that last one.
Yeah, that was me.
I didn't call that last one. Not taking responsibility for that. There's a third factory too. So we can even like get a pump in there. The Rubbins Chalice of the Void. Do you run it out for 0? Just be like, I had this as well. Yeah. Ooh, sneak it into play.
You can play it for 2 and activate 2 factory, but or play it for 1 other.
Yeah. Oh, why didn't you play the... Oh, I guess to live, Julian has to like block both factories anyway, so playing the other factory is redundant.
He was pretty free though, so I don't know. It probably doesn't matter, but I think he could have played it.
Yep, that's a Reclamation Sage here to reclamation some things. It does its job.
Right on time. All right, so we are going to game 3. I can get a glimpse as to how Romario boarded, maybe.
Looks like he it looks like he had a mimics, yeah.
Hmm.
What do you think about the Tower of the Magistrate? I've seen it in some lists, but not others.
Well, the answer is Batterskull. I don't know how big of a problem that is. Is it protection from artifacts or colorless?
It's artifacts.
Yeah, so I can't think of any applications. It's like GTA, Batterskull. Where else is it relevant?
Opposing Mishra's factories.
Sure.
I had that come up once. My opponent was attacking my my Mind Sculptor with 2 factories, and I got to flash in a Naven Mind Sensor and give it pro artifacts and eat one.
Nice. What deck was playing Jace, Mind Sensor, and Tower?
Oh, this was actually the first time Tower of the Magistrate ever got a top 8. I played it in a random open in a 4-color zoo list where I was playing Jace's. This was in the Mental Misstep era.
Okay, sure.
I ended up losing in the finals to Manaless Dredge, but most of the rounds were like a lot of Jace mirrors, and so my opponent would play a Jace, and I'd be like, all right, attack with my Wild Nacatl, and they're like, okay, it dies. And then I'd play a Jace, and they basically just like crap themselves and die.
Can't keep up with Nacatl or Jace card advantage.
Yeah, but the Tower of the Magistrate was kind of messed up because the copy that I had borrowed from a friend, and it was in Chinese, and nobody knew what it did. So like I tutored for it against Mud with a Knight of the Reliquary, and my opponent like chooses to wasteland a random like irrelevant land on my upkeep or whatever. I'm like, okay, give my Knight protection from artifacts, hit you on tap. Give my Knight protection from artifacts, hit you. And he's like, oh. I mean, I knew it did something weird, but I didn't know it was that specifically good against me. And you should probably read your opponent's cards, man. You should probably do that.
Seems like a reasonable thing to try to figure out.
Yeah.
Is it a recent thing where you can ask a judge like what a card does?
No.
No, you guys will do it?
Not at all. I mean, as long as I've been playing competitive Magic, that's been a thing you could do. They haven't always had like smartphones, so they could like always look up Oracle text.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember the first like really competitive tournament I played in, there was a situation where I was watching a match and someone needed to like name something correctly with Cabal Therapy, and they were trying to name Diabolic Edict, and all they got was like the card that makes someone sacrifice a thing, and the judge is like, I can't tell you what that card is because that's like a billion cards. He's like, no, it costs like a black and a colorless, and he's like, yeah, there's still multiple things that do that.
All right, so Deathrite got Dismembered turn 1. Thought-Knot Seer came down turn 2 for Romario. Pretty normal elf draw. Pretty average, I guess. Not especially impressive.
Yeah, pretty average on both sides, right? Eldrazi always turn 2's a Thought-Knot Seer. at the worst.
That's the average.
That's
Just
the
always
average,
turns
man. Have you ever played against this deck? That's just what it does.
That's fair.
Every time.
Julian seems to be in a somewhat rough spot. He's kind of not doing anything at this point. No symbiote or anything to get the wheels turning.
Yeah. Reality Smasher is like a fast reality smasher seems like a really big deal against elves. Elves are pretty good at fending off like just like large creatures like a Tarmogoyf. You can like block a Tarmogoyf and bounce the creature that's blocking for days. Like you just don't care about that card. And similarly, like you're pretty good against equipment because you can control like Jit counters and Batterskull hits in the same way that you can control a Tarmogoyf. But a card like a 5/5 trampler that comes down on turn 3 with haste seems well positioned
Can't chunk block that one very
against
effectively.
elves tools. Yeah, and especially because like I mean even if you get late to the point where elves should have inevitability where they can start doing more powerful things than the Eldrazi deck. Even if you get to that stage, there's the Aldous Dust, which just like clears the way really neatly. And
Do you think there was any consideration to triple blocking the Thought-Knot or just get that off the board, draw an extra card to actually try to find something to do?
I have no idea.
He's definitely afraid of like
I know when you
dismember.
Yeah, when you trade down like that, you also just make it really difficult to get ahead with cards like Gaia's Cradle and stuff. Like your deck just doesn't work.
Yeah, you definitely want a high density of creatures in play. The Romario's hand isn't doing anything anymore.
He stopped playing lands. That was the mistake.
Yeah.
He probably should have. I think if you can't add anything to the board here, you probably don't attack with Thought-Knot Seer. I think he's trying to get to a place where a Reality Smasher could be lethal, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, Julian.
That's an aggressive attack.
Not respecting the Smasher, and then like the Dread Arbor comes back like, yep, maybe this one. I almost like leaving Birchlore Rangers back instead of Dryad Arbor. Because a Quirion Ranger can combine with Dryad Arbor.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of like random elves.
Are there any... Yeah, there's the Dismember in the graveyard, so this attack puts Romario dead if Julian untaps with the Death Ray.
Seems likely.
Yeah. That's the third Reality Smasher, and that's it.
And you'd think 3 Reality Smashers would be really good.
Yeah. One would think.
Okay. That was the 4th match for this week, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That was the 5th? Alright,
Technically 5th, yeah.
Are we done then? Is that the show?
Yeah, that's it.
That's the show. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next week.
That was a pretty sweet match.
It was a sweet match. It was a sweet match. They kept ducking and diving. We didn't know what was going on.
The first game was great. I guess the third game was probably a little bit unfortunate for Romario.
I enjoyed the third game.
I actually won't see you next week,
He's like,
Caleb.
see Eldrazi lose.
Because you played your next week match this week because Joe wasn't around to play his match.
Oh yeah. I won't be around next week. But,
you can still commentate.
The show will be. I may or may not be commentating. We'll see. All right, thanks guys for tuning in.
Yep. See you guys later.